we're going to air our interview that I had with Andy Gibson. For all of you who don't know who Andy Gibson is, you need to go find, him on Twitter and Facebook and on iTunes, just like the Low Cash Cowboys. Because Andy Gibson has written some songs out there that I know you all know. A little song called Don't You Want to Stay by Mr. Jason Aldean and Kelly Clarkson. So I'm pretty sure you all know that song. It's not just played on country. It's also played on pop radio. So he wrote that song, and he actually performed it when I saw him. He was at the Middlesex County Fair this Friday. Yes, it was Friday. He was there this Friday hanging out. He was singing some songs. He performed a little bit. And we got a chance to talk with him ahead of time. He was really cool. He's a tall guy. I posted a picture of him on our Facebook and Twitter, and he's tall. Like, he's very tall. But I'm also very short, so that's not saying much. But his crew and all the guys were awesome. His regional manager, Eric Mellencamp, was there. He was also a really cool guy. He actually works for Lee Brice, Leanne Rimes, and Ronnie Atkins as well, and he was really cool. And his father was there, and his father was such a sweetheart. He was so nice. But anyway, we got to talk to him a little bit about his career, about, music, about how he got started. He has some interesting stories too to tell. So that was also fun to talk about as well, his first guitar and stuff. So we're gonna play it. Hopefully this sound quality is a-okay here, and we're gonna get hooked up here, and we're gonna listen to Mr. Andy Gibson here at the ChuckWagon Radio at 90.3 WMSC.
All right. So how did you get into country music?
Well, I guess growing up as a young kid, my dad was really into country music, and so I just grew up listening to it in the truck on the weekends, hanging out with my dad.
Now, I was reading a little bit about your guitar, your first guitar. Can you kind of go a little bit about, your first guitar and how you got into guitars at such a young age?
Okay. Yeah, well, growing up, when my dad would come home from work, every day he'd go into his office and he'd bust out his guitar and play his favorite records, and he'd play along, whether it was bass or guitar. And, as a little kid, you want to do everything your dad's doing. And so I would go in there, and he had a little drum practice pad, and that was cool and everything, but I wanted to play the guitar, and I didn't have a guitar, so I found some building supplies around the house and some old cigar boxes and rubber bands, and I built myself a little guitar out of it. And I'm sure it sounded horrible, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And my parents, they took the hint and eventually got me a real guitar, but that's how I started out.
Do you still have that guitar at all?
I don't. I wish I did. I've got pictures of it, though. My mom sent me a picture on Facebook the other day. My mom's so tech savvy, of me playing that little rubber band cigar box guitar.
Can you just tell us a little bit about going from Vegas to Nashville, your first few years in Nashville, and how you got into music through there?
Well, it's kind of a scary thing to move across the country when you don't know anybody in a place, and all your family's out. All my family's out in the West, Nevada, California, and Arizona. But I took a chance and I moved out and, got the crappy basement apartment and the waiter jobs and the janitor jobs and played restaurants and did all that stuff you're supposed to do, I guess, when you get to Nashville to try and make money while you're trying to make it in the business. And Nashville's such a friendly town. I mean, people are there to support you and help you even from the ground up. I mean, and even after you've had some success, you always find those people that will kind of show you where they've already been and kind of show you the ropes. So it's one of those towns where people aren't excluding you or they're not trying to keep you down so they can do well. It's everyone kind of helps each other. There's a real networking and a kind of a family type feel.
You had a pretty big song that you wrote end up on country music radio, I guess you could say. How did you react when that song, Don't You Want to Stay, did make it so big and you found out that Jason Aldean and Kelly Clarkson were going to be singing it?
I mean, I think I was more shocked than anything when I got the call that Jason was going to cut it and turn it into a duet with him and Kelly. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I kind of like that idea. And then to see them sing it on the CMA Awards, I mean, I didn't even have a TV at the time. My friends invited me over because they had cable and they had a TV, and I was just sitting there on the couch. I couldn't move, watching them sing my song and watching the audience jump up, you know, give them a standing ovation. It's just, you know, my friends thought there was something wrong because I was like stunned, but I was just so excited. I couldn't believe it, you know. And then to hear his fans at his shows just sing it back louder than he was singing on stage, it just, you know, it makes you get emotional. It's something that's so overwhelming until you experience it. There's no way to describe really how it feels, but it's just been the coolest thing that could have ever happened. I mean, I never would have dreamed it would have happened.
Yeah. Do you prefer writing songs for yourself or for other people?
I just kind of write whatever I'm feeling that day, and sometimes it works for me, sometimes it works for someone else, and sometimes it just doesn't work, you know, and you hope that you have more of the other type than the not working, but it's a process you go through, and you write and you write and write, and every once in a while you hit on something great, and it happens.
Now your song, Wanna Make You Love Me, is it a personal song at all? Is there a personal story behind it at all?
Well, you know, I heard the song. I didn't write the song, but when I heard it, it felt like my song. It felt like something I would write, and it felt like experiences I personally had, you know, growing up, you know, how my father was with my mother, and how you feel when you're with someone that wants to, you know, that makes you want to be something better than you are. And so I just immediately connected with the lyric, and then I love the melody, and it's catchy, and it was just a great song, and, you know, I'm excited that country radio embraced it, and it did as well as it did.
You're on the road right now. What are your favorite parts of being on the road?
Well, definitely hanging out with Eric Mellencamp, my regional up here in New Jersey, and, you know, really seeing the sights, I guess, you know, aside from getting to play my music and see how people react to it, and meeting fans and all that great stuff, getting to see the country, you know, getting to see all the different people that like country music too. It's just, I never would have imagined that you can go into I guess a steakhouse or a restaurant in New Jersey and listen to country music that's playing for everyone to hear. I mean, it's really cool how country music is really so well liked across the board, you know. It's just it's something I didn't even realize.
So what is next for you in your career?
Well, definitely putting out hit songs. That's what I'm looking forward to, you know, putting out songs that people love and they want to sing, and that gets me out here on the road singing and playing for people and interacting and doing shows, and that's what it's all about for us, you know. We make music for people. We don't make it necessarily for ourselves. I mean, you do, but if you make it for just you, it doesn't do you much good. You want to make music that helps you connect with people, and that's what I'm doing right now. Writing songs, looking for songs, recording songs, and singing songs on stage that hopefully touch somebody in some way.
If you could work with anybody in music right now, who would you pick?
Anybody in music? Man. Well, I'm working with the best guy in radio promo here, Eric. You know what? I don't even know. There's so many people. Like, how do you choose one and not choose the other 1,000? You know, I said for a little bit here, I would love to do something with that Adele girl. I mean, I love what she does, and she loves country music, so I think that's pretty cool.
What's your favorite album that's out right now?
Oh, man. Favorite album that's out right now? Lee Bryce, Hard to Love. Yeah. No, Lee, I do like his album, though. He's a great guy. We've written a bunch of songs, and he's a label mate of mine now. Thanks to Wanna Make You Love Me, he got me a new record deal with Curb Records. Yeah, there's some great music coming out of Nashville. I really like that. I love that new song that Hunter Hayes put out, that Wanted. Man, there's a lot of great country records coming out, but at the same time, I think the biggest record in my catalog that I would listen to is that Adele that she came out with recently. I really love that album. I love how simple it is. It's real music. That, or I like the Civil Wars too, because John Paul's a good friend of mine. So we write a lot of songs together, and I love both of those groups, Adele and the Civil Wars, how they're making just simple music, but it's good music, so people can hear, good, organic, simple, like there's not a lot of crazy production, it's voices and instruments, and I like that we're getting back to that a little bit.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us today.
You got it. Anytime.